Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, powered by Flurry Sports. It can be tough to win a fantasy league on your own, but at FFBC, we will work together to bring home the hardware. Hosted by Zach Bruner and the rest of the Flurry Sports crew, we will give top-level analysis, answer your questions, and, well, go off on other tangents.
That was after I tried to get ChatGPT to admit that 9/11 was an inside job, but it stood firm. It gave quite a few solid points that it was true.
Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, brought to you by Flurry Sports here. If you're new here, definitely just drop a follow, a subscription, whatever it is where you are watching or listening. If you're watching, just know that you can listen to this as an audio podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. If you're listening to this on one of those places, obviously, thank you very much. Please give us a 5-star review. We are charting right now. We're ranking on the charts, and I would love to rise the ranks before football season. But just know, we will be doing a live mock draft today, building a championship team around Bijan Robinson, and it may be more useful to watch this. Obviously, I will describe what is happening, the players on the board, the best that I can, but seeing it may help you, and you can watch this on the Flurry Sports YouTube channel. Subscribe there. We just passed 10,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. And we are on the road to 15K. 15K before the end of the NFL season is the goal. And it's a goal that I feel optimistic about. It's a goal that we will crush with the help of you. So thank you very, very much. And last bit of information here before we get started. The free fantasy football draft kit is out right now. If you are watching this on YouTube, the link is in the description below. Free fantasy football draft kit brought to you by us here at Flurry Sports and Fantasy Football by Committee. If you're listening to this, and I mean, this is useful information for everybody, go to the Flurry Sports website, flurrysports.org. All fantasy football stuff will be there this season, but you can also go to the Fantasy Football by Committee Facebook group. There you can watch these live streams like we are right now. You can ask your fantasy questions all year long to us, to other people in the community, and you can answer other people's questions as well. There, we are looking to build the best new fantasy football community. We're hoping to help each other win this year, and I think it's going to be a very, very, very useful tool for you. And obviously, the draft kit for your draft is going to be a very useful tool as well. I can actually probably show you a little bit of it right here, but I do advise you to go get it for yourself. It's free. It's a Google Drive link. Look at that beautiful cover. The 2023 draft kit, we got rankings, tiers, we got strength of schedule, we got depth charts, we got numbers on numbers on numbers that will be useful for you. So definitely go check that out. And again, it's free. It's free. So if you don't like it, let me know why, because I think it's a pretty good tool. And if you don't like something, if you wish there was something else added, let us know, because we've been wanting to build the best draft kit for you this season, and whatever you want to see, there's still some time. If there is a specific resource, a specific tool, a specific set of data that you are looking for your fantasy drafts, let us know over on the Fantasy Football by Committee Facebook group, and we may get it added just in time for your fantasy draft. So let us know. But for today, we are going to be drafting the best fantasy football team around Bijan Robinson. And Bijan Robinson's a running back, obviously a rookie, so highly touted, a lot of expectations, but he is a rookie, which means some people are going to put him a little bit lower. In terms of fantasy data ADP, and I'll share this with you if you are watching this, according to PPR data on fantasydata.com, we have Bijan Robinson going 9th. And I think that's fair. That's where we are going to be drafting him today. It's showing him just behind Saquon Barkley. We will be doing our live mock draft over on Sleeper. And I'll tell you that Bijan Robinson's ADP on Sleeper is actually ahead of Saquon Barkley. Obviously, my rankings that are in the draft kit, that are on flurrysports.org, they're on Fantasy Pros. They are all over the place at this point. I do have Saquon Barkley ahead of Bijan Robinson. I would take him ahead of Bijan Robinson because I am not convinced, like other people who are apparently convinced. I'm not convinced that Tyler Algier is going to sit silently on the side. I mean, he was 1,000-yard rusher his rookie year, and I don't think he disappears. So I think he plays a larger role than many Bijan Robinson owners will want. But for today, we are picking him with our first-round pick. We will pick him at 9th. Let's make this a little smaller here. You guys can still see it. But we, again, just like last time, we'll only go through the first 3 rounds talking through it, but then we will do a live mock draft, the full damn thing. But I think you get a little bit more out of an actual mock draft than just talking through it. But if this is a 12-team PPR league, that means we pick 9th, we get Bijan Robinson, then we pick 16th. And starting at 12, because there's a chance he falls, I don't think he will, but starting at 12 in the ADP and PPR is Nick Chubb, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Tony Pollard, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry. Now, Nick Chubb, if for some reason he drops in your league, take him, ask no questions, shake everybody's hand afterwards because you won already. I love Nick Chubb, so obviously if he's there, you take him. I think if AJ Brown or Devontae Adams are there, you take him. I think it's slightly unrealistic to think either or any of those 3 players fall. I've done some mock drafts where CeeDee Lamb has fallen. He's actually ahead of them on the ADP. I don't think that's going to happen. I think your decision is probably going to be between, if you want to go wide receiver, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown and Garrett Wilson or Derrick Henry. And in this case, I think I'm going Derrick Henry. I'm not messing with Patrick Mahomes. I'm not getting a quarterback that early. I love Derrick Henry a lot more than Tony Pollard, so he's my running back choice there. I like Garrett Wilson over Amon-Ra St. Brown. So if you want a wide receiver, I think Garrett Wilson's the way to go. But if we're putting Henry and Wilson head to head, I think I like going Henry because I think I can get a good wide receiver at 33 anyways. But that means then, a long wait. Then we come back around the 3rd round at 33. Starting at 30 in the ADP is T. Higgins, Travis Etienne, DK Metcalf, Joe Mixon, Calvin Ridley, Jahmyr Gibbs, Deebo Samuel, Lamar Jackson. If you go Garrett Wilson, I'm totally cool with getting Jahmyr Gibbs here or a Joe Mixon. If you go running back, and T. Higgins is here, obviously pull the trigger on T. Higgins. I think I would prefer Calvin Ridley to DK Metcalf. Deebo Samuel's a little bit lower than them. If Calvin Ridley's gone and DK Metcalf's the best wide receiver on the board, T. Higgins also gone, I might go 3 running backs in a row, to be completely honest. Obviously, this entire series I've been preaching to draft the best player, and I'm not going to feel comfortable with DK Metcalf as my wide receiver 1. I would feel a lot more comfortable waiting and getting possibly getting a DeAndre Hopkins as a wide receiver 1, but I don't think DK Metcalf's any better than a Terry McLaurin, possibly even Jerry Jeudy, Drake London, somebody like that. So that is why I don't think you need to reach on DK Metcalf, and that is why I think it's important to break your wide receivers up into tiers in the free draft kit. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, in the description below. Otherwise, go to the Fantasy Football by Committee Facebook group. I have my tiers on there, so you can see where I rank people. And Dino over on Facebook right now is in the chat. If anybody else is watching, definitely ask your questions if you have any. At 7th in a PPR league, do I grab Henry, Barkley, or Bijan? I would go grab Barkley. That's interesting. Do I like Henry or Bijan more? I think that's very, very close. But I think I would go Saquon Barkley ahead of the other 2. And then if you can somehow get Derrick Henry on the swing back around, which I think is very possible, I would love to start my draft with Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry. So that is what I would do. But yeah, any other questions, let me know. But we just sort of talked through 3 rounds there, and I want to just jump straight into a mock draft. I think this is where we will learn the most. We will put our strategy, in place, 12-team PPR. The ADP changes a little bit because we are now on Sleeper, but we grab Bijan Robinson once it loads. There we go, at 9, and then we will see who falls to us. Derrick Henry didn't fall in this one. Nick Chubb actually went after him, which is interesting. But, we talked up through this scenario. If somehow Chubb and Henry are both gone and we got wide receivers on the board, best running back on the board is Josh Jacobs. But we have Devontae Adams, who fell to us, and I'm taking Devontae Adams. If I start Bijan Robinson, Devontae Adams, I feel very good. I feel very happy about it. But then that opens it up where we could take a running back and not feel bad about it in the third round. Damn, I was hoping Najee Harris would fall. He went just before us. The board reads DK Metcalf, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jahmyr Gibbs, Deebo Samuel, Joe Mixon. The player I'm going to go with, and we've talked about it. I know other people on the show really like Joe Mixon, love his consistency, yada, yada. I'm going to go Jahmyr Gibbs over him. I think Jahmyr Gibbs has a higher ceiling, but more importantly, I think he has a very, very clear running back mate in his backfield, I will say, with David Montgomery, who I think is terrific. And I think if you can get both of them, then you feel very, very good. Because if either are out, obviously you have an obvious running back one. I think both are startable every single week. And if Joe Mixon goes down, Chase Brown's the guy probably, but I don't feel good about it. And we've seen Joe Mixon disappear for long stretches at a time as well. So I don't need to have Joe Mixon on my team. I'm happy with going 2 rookie running backs right away instead. But then 4th pick in the 4th round, Joe Mixon's still there, though. And Joe Mixon as a running back 3 is completely different than a running back 2, in my opinion. So I do like him there. Lamar Jackson is the top on the board. It goes Lamar Jackson, Deebo Samuel, then Joe Mixon. Amari Cooper is after that. We got Kittle and Hawkinson both there for tight ends if we wish to go that route. I do not, even though my pick would be Hawkinson between the two. I think I'm going to go Joe Mixon. I don't mind that. 3 very good running backs, even though I did just sort of trash Joe Mixon a little bit. 3 very good fantasy running backs to start. We have Devontae Adams, who's an absolute stud at wide receiver to start. And the world is our oyster. And we got Drake London still on the board. We have Darren Waller on the board. Here's the scenario. Well, the board reads Trevor Lawrence, Darren Waller, Drake London, J.K. Dobbins, Dallas Goedert, Chris Godwin. If we go Darren Waller, then we probably could get a Brandon Ayuk as a wide receiver too, which I feel pretty good about. I like Drake London more than Ayuk. However, do I think Dallas Goedert will fall? I think there's a chance, but I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go Darren Waller with my 5th round pick. Coming back around, I will plan to get Brandon Ayuk if he's there. Brandon Ayuk and Chris Godwin are both there. Let me actually look at my rankings really quick, just because I think they are very close for me, and I do have Godwin ahead of him. So I'm just going to trust what I ranked earlier. So Chris Godwin's our wide receiver 2. I feel very good about it. He should be plenty steady. I'm not too worried about Baker Mayfield throwing him the football. People are freaking out about it a little bit too much, in my opinion. But roster right now, sorry I didn't have that up. We got Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Darren Waller, Joe Mixon. I feel awesome about that. And David Montgomery's on the board. We just wrapped up the Lions backfield. We now have 4 very good running backs. And if somehow we left the draft with no other running backs, I would still feel good. We will get at least 1 more running back, probably 2. But if I got 0 more, I still feel very fine about it. And obviously James Cook is on the top of the board right now, tempting me because I do think he is a sleeper this year. I think he's still being undervalued a little bit too much, but we don't need to go him. We could go Dak Prescott. I prefer him to Deshaun, so I do like the way they are ranked on the board right now. We don't need a tight end. Best wide receivers on the board are Michael Thomas, Brandon Cooks, Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston, who I for sure don't want, Gabe Davis, Traylon Burks. It does kind of get gross there. So maybe I do go Michael Thomas and then come back and hopefully grab it Anthony Richardson. Yeah, so this is what the scenario in my mind right now is. Do I go Dak Prescott and then grab a wide receiver on the way back? Or do I go Michael Thomas and pray Anthony Richardson falls? And I'm a gambling man, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab Michael Thomas. We will see if Anthony Richardson falls to the 9th round. Tua's gone. Dak is gone. Deshaun Watson is gone. We should be fine. Aaron Rodgers is gone, and we're good. So Kirk Cousins, Anthony Richardson, Geno Smith are the 3 top running backs on the board. I'm going with Anthony Richardson because he has the highest potential. We are not investing too much in our quarterback. Obviously, this is a late 9th round pick. Obviously, Kirk Cousins has a higher floor. Obviously, Geno Smith has a higher floor. But those 2 are both high floor, low ceiling options. We can be a bit risky at quarterback with Anthony Richardson because of the rest of our team, because of when we are drafting him. But we will draft another quarterback as an insurance policy. In the draft kit, I do have a quarterback by committee finder, so you can play the weeks a little bit if you wish to go that way with these late round quarterbacks. But even if I go Anthony Richardson and Kyler Murray and put Kyler Murray on IR to start the year, I don't hate it. But let's just see how the draft goes. We got Anthony Richardson. Let's see how the rest of the draft falls to us. Drafting August 29th, by the way, all the preseason games are done. I'm still not going to be drafting a defense because of the way this mock draft goes. We already have 1, 2, 3 defenses off the board. I never draft a kicker, so we're not drafting kickers. But I'm not going to draft a defense because I'm not going to draft a defense this early. And the auto picks are going to start filling those in. And I'm not going to be the last player to pick a defense. That makes no sense since I can just pick them up prior to week 1 and it's the exact same defensive unit. So no reason to do that, but that's just the reason for that if you're listening or watching and are confused. If you have any questions about why I don't draft a kicker, let me know. And if you're still confused on why I'm not drafting a defense, let me know. I can explain it further as well. But Geno Smith is still on the board. I don't hate going Geno here at 11. Or at 10, rather. I don't hate it. I think I can wait and grab Jared Goff, and it's a similar player, so no need, really. Best running back on the board is Rashad Penny. Best wide receiver on the board, Elijah Moore, Allen Lazard, Adam Thielen. Tight end is Dalton Schultz, who I don't dislike. I'm going to go Adam Thielen here, though. He is a guy who I think is getting slept on too much as well. Has the potential. I think he'll be a little short, but I think he does have the potential to be a 1,000-yard receiver. For sure, the leading wide receiver in Carolina this season. Now, just a quick roster update, just so we're all on the same page, and for myself as well. We got Anthony Richardson, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Michael Thomas, Darren Waller, Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, Adam Thielen. That means we have 4 running backs, we have 4 wide receivers, a quarterback, and a tight end. We are balanced. We can do whatever the hell we want. The board in terms of flexes reads Jerick McKinnon, Sky Moore, Jameson Williams, Elijah Mitchell, Chig Okonkwo, Tyler Higbee, Rashad Bateman. And then Tank Bigsby, who actually may be the pick for me. There's good players. I might go Tank Bigsby, Romeo Doubs. I think that might be the order I go here. Let's do it. So Tank Bigsby will be the short yardage guy in Jacksonville. I think he can be fantasy relevant week to week regardless of injury. But if ETN goes down, I think Tank Bigsby is going to be a very good player anyway. Now, wide receivers, we got Jameson Williams, who's suspended and hasn't proven a damn thing in the NFL. We have Rashad Bateman, who has only been injured. Tyler Boyd, who has 0 ceiling. Oh, that's not true. His ceiling's very low. He's not going to get any better than he ever is. Rashee Rice, who is trending downwards. Jacoby Myers, who I think is pretty steady. He's probably a wide receiver 4 the entire way. I'm going to go Romeo Doubs, who I believe could be the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. I think he's the more skilled wide receiver in Green Bay, and I know he has a connection with Jordan Love. So I like that pick a lot as a late round sleeper in your drafts, especially if you waited at wide receiver as long as we did. We got Devontae Adams in the second, but then we didn't take our wide receiver 2 until the 6th round. So Romeo Doubs could skyrocket into that wide receiver 2 or 3 for us. Now the board reads Myers, Algier, Mooney, Laporta, Dulcich, Warren. This is a no-brainer. We built a team around Bijan Robinson. I started it with saying I'm a little bit nervous about Bijan Robinson's role, just because I think he's the lead back, obviously, but I don't think Tyler Algier is going silently into the night. So we're going to take Tyler Algier. If anything happens to our first round pick in Bijan Robinson, we know what Tyler Algier is, and that's a 1,000-yard rusher in his rookie season. He can do the same exact thing this year if anything happens to Bijan. That means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs. I'm good. I don't think I need any more. I might grab Kareem Hunt late just to see, if he falls to me. I don't need to go out of my way. But he could end up being the wide receiver 1 in Indianapolis by the end of the day, with this being the deadline for Jonathan Taylor, supposedly. But yeah, we probably need another wide receiver. We could go tight end if we wish, but I feel pretty good about Darren Waller, obviously. Wide receiver, looking at Jalen Hyatt, Rondale Moore, Jonathan Mingo. Those are the 3 names that are jumping out to me. And I think I'm going to go Jalen Hyatt. I like Rondale Moore a lot. I just don't know what to believe or think about Arizona at the current moment. But Jalen Hyatt has had ups and downs in the preseason, but I think mostly ups. I think he's going to be a pretty large part of their offense. We have a lot of really young players on this team. I kind of like it. I feel like the team is relatively steady, but tons of potential. I mean, we got 3 rookies in our starting lineup. We have another 2 rookies on our bench, 2 second-year players on our bench. So looking up, and now with the final pick of the draft, what I would do, if I think I could pull the trigger and be fast enough in my league, I'm going to go Kyler Murray. Then I'm going to put Kyler Murray on IR if my league has that, and so I can save a roster spot. And then I would immediately go and pick up Kareem Hunt, assuming there's no waivers. I can just pick him up right away. Because then, again, Kareem Hunt could be the running back 1 in Indianapolis by the end of the night. Before this is even published as a regular video, we're just alive right now. Before this is published as a podcast, Kareem Hunt could be the running back 1 in Indianapolis, and we're getting him with the final pick if we took him right now. I'm going to pick Kyler Murray, but again, it's kind of a 2-for-1, assuming I can put Kyler Murray on IR. So the final roster built around Bijan Robinson. This is one of my favorites so far. I think this is a really fun roster. We have Anthony Richardson, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, let's start one more time, because I'm not going to call Devontae Adams Anthony. That makes me feel bad. So we have Anthony Richardson, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, Michael Thomas, Darren Waller, Joe Mixon as our starters. On the bench, we have David Montgomery, Adam Thielen, Tank Bigsby, Romeo Doubs, Tyler Algier, Jalen Hyatt, and Kyler Murray. We put Kyler Murray on IR. We pick up Kareem Hunt, and then away we fucking go. Bring on the championship. Let's convince our league to pay up for the biggest trophy this year because we just won it, right? I'm feeling pretty good about it. Let me know what you think of this team. Let me know who you're targeting in the first round of your fantasy draft, or if you already had your draft, let me know what you did. Another fun thing maybe we start doing, if you're in the comments on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever, let me know your favorite fantasy teams built around Bijan Robinson this year. Obviously, we have articles on flurrysports.org already talking about some fantasy team names about Bijan Robinson if you need any ideas. But let me know that. Download our free fantasy football draft kit. Go to the Fantasy Football by Community. Jesus, I can't talk today. Go to the Fantasy Football by Committee Facebook group. Download the free draft kit. You can download it. You can print it. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. Print it off and burn it as much as I care. I just want you guys to see this because there's a lot of good data here for you. Definitely go and explore that. I think it'll help you in your drafts because the goal for us, for me, if you're not in a league with me, I want you to win a championship this year, and I think the draft kit is going to help you do that. So go do that, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, and we will be back tomorrow. See ya.